have to tell you that ever since I moved to Norway, I've been so blessed to be being welcome to the Steinway Gallery in Oslo, either for concerts or for talks or for all sorts of seminars. So I kind of consider myself a close friend of the gallery. So thank you for agreeing to having this talk today.
Absolutely, I'm excited because you have been such a close friend to the gallery since you moved to Norway, and you have also held concerts here several times. So this is really a nice opportunity, I think, to have this kind of conversation. Yeah.
Now, if you allow me, Gisle, let me introduce you, because you're the star of the day. Now, Gisle DAUS is a trained piano builder as well as a concert piano technician with 20 years of experience in the piano industry. Gisle established the Steinway Piano Gallery Oslo in 2012, where he is the general manager and represents Steinway and Sons in the Norwegian market. Connecting developing talent to artists worldwide is his passion, and actively promotes piano playing among young people. What do you think about that, Gisle? Is that accurate?
I think that pretty much covers it. So yeah, it's true. My background, I'm a piano builder, a piano technician, piano tuner. I started playing the piano at 7 years old, at a young age, and I had the interest for pianos, and I also had the interest for techniques. So for me, that was a very nice combination to combine technical things and craftsmanship and music. So I worked for myself for many years as a piano technician. I had my own workshop, and in 2012, like you mentioned, I took over the store here as a general manager, and I'm responsible for the Norwegian market for Steinway & Sons.
That's quite impressive, Gisle. Yeah. But how did you end up with this kind of job? Was this always your passion? Did you grow up in a musical family?
Well, not extremely musical. My parents do play a little bit of piano and trumpet, so it's not like an extremely high educated music family. It's just normal music interest, I guess. And myself, like I mentioned, I also play the piano for many years. So, and I always been very interesting to work with pianos. I worked with several piano companies in the past, so through many brands. So it was quite natural for me actually to end up with Steinway. Like, I think everyone who works with pianos has some kind of wish to one day to be able to work with Steinway. And for me, this was a dream come true to finally be able to work professionally with Steinway.
Absolutely, I can so relate to that. I have to tell you, because ever since I grew up, every time I had the chance to play on a Steinway was like a blessing. In between Estonias and Lipatis, and I'm not going to mention any other brands, but these are the two famous brands in Romania, let's say. A Steinway was really the jewel, so I was always like feeling blessed. But yeah. Tell me, Steinway, okay, Steinway and Sons. Tell me something about the brand in general history, because not all of our followers would know, even if they are pianists. What is Steinway?
What is Steinway? Yeah. First of all, I think Steinway has a huge, rich history. Maybe I should introduce you to the founder of Steinway, Henry Steinway. He was born in 1897, and he had a quite tough life. He was an orphan. He lost his whole family before he was 15 years old. And if you go through the gallery, I can show you the picture, because he started to build. Yeah, he started to build his first piano in his kitchen in 1836, and because he was educated, he was a carpenter. Before he was 15 years old, he became a carpenter, and at that time, the pianoforte keyboard instrument was growing very popular in Europe for the past 50 years, and he became very passionate about and interesting to build a pianoforte. And this is our founder, Henry Steinway. Can you see the picture?
Absolutely, yeah.
So this is he's building his first piano in his kitchen, because he was not allowed build to enter the Piano Technicians Guild or the Carpenters Guild because he was not married. So this was actually some kind of secret work that he did.
But I have to interrupt you because I have to admire his craftsmanship, because look at all the details and ornaments that he's making right there on the spot. So he was definitely gifted.
He was extremely gifted. He was, I think I would say he was really a genius in many aspects. In of course in the craftsmanship and marketing, economy. He had so many talents. So this all together later he made his success, but it was too difficult for him to continue to manufacture pianos in Germany. Actually, they made about 10 pianos a year with his brother. He had 6 brothers, sons. So they made 10 pianos a year there in Germany, but after a while it became too difficult to produce those pianos in Germany because of political situation, and it forced them to move to America. So in 1850 they actually moved to America, and the piano factory in New York was established in 1853. And from then,
but Germany was not lost completely. I mean, even today, when we hear about Steinway, we have 2 pinpoints on the world map: New York, as you mentioned, and Hamburg.
Exactly. So the Hamburg, when the New York factory was established and it was going very successfully after just 5 to 10 years, it was growing and growing, and he made big success because he really found a good, perfect recipe for the piano. And he took many patents. He was really a genius to construct the perfect piano, and that this was also his goal, his passion, to make the best piano possible, to make the best piano in the world. That was really his goal. And today, Steinway & Sons is following this dream, this passion, to still make the best piano possible.
Okay, but what about the competition? What about the competition in that period? Because we have other brands, historical brands like GISLE, for instance, or brands that made fortepianos top notch.
Absolutely.
How did he cope with the competition entering this new world?
I think what he did, what was quite clever, also he was very good to connect with artists. So many famous composers like Franz Liszt and Arthur Rubinstein, pianists like Rubinstein, he was able to connect with them quite early because he wanted to show them how great. He was very proud of his pianos, so he wanted to show them his pianos, and he made them play his pianos on their concerts. And then he connected to many artists, and the pianist wanted to play his piano because at the time, in many pianists' opinion, the Steinway pianos were the best. Mm-hmm. Of course, in this period of time, there was maybe hundreds of different piano factories, and of course other high quality manufacturers. So of course it was competition, no doubt. But the Steinway factory became quite quick, quite soon, became a very important factory for pianos.
Okay, now tell me how Steinway. We mentioned New York, Hamburg. Now let's go a bit more north, Scandinavia, and even Norway and Oslo. What's the story of Steinway in Oslo?
Oh, yeah. So I think actually Steinway has had representation in Norway for at least 100 years. However, the Steinway Gallery Oslo was established in 2012, and before that we had a Steinway dealer. We didn't actually have a physical store. And before that, in the 1950s to 80s, we had the Grøndal piano store in the center of Oslo, not so far from here. So Steinway has always had a dealership in Norway, and there are hundreds, maybe thousands of Steinways in Norway, and we don't actually know how many there are. Mm-hmm. So many.
Okay, but what was your determination to open the gallery then? Because you are the founder of Steinway & Sons Gallery.
So it was this was actually something that came from Steinway in Hamburg, that we needed a new store and a center for pianists to come, be able to come and try pianos in Oslo, in the center of Oslo. that people can just drop in and play. Here we have a row, all models we have displayed from the smallest one, the model S, M, O, A, B, C, D. We have all models, and people can just pop into the store and have a go on the piano. This was not possible before at this on the same level. So this was something that the piano factory Steinway in Hamburg wanted to have. So therefore we opened the store here.
I have to tell you, I'm quite familiar with the place, as you know. So
yes,
maybe we can go to my favorite wall in the gallery, because probably the main reason that I ended up in Norway for now is Håvard Gimse. And we have like a wall of fame somewhere in the gallery, who kind of makes it clear for us why so many pianists go for Steinway. And probably we will get an idea what makes a Steinway piano be so great and maybe so expensive, you will tell us. But it's a clear choice for many, many worldwide pianists, including these names, if we can have a look at this really Hall of Fame, I would say. I remember Mariana Shirinyan, Einar Steen Nøkleberg, Håkon Ørsbø, Håvard Gimse, really big names of Nordic, and not only Nordic, if we look at Mariana Shirinyan, of course, a very close friend of Romania, I have to tell you. So it's a clear choice for many pianists. But why is it so great from your perspective?
Oh, I mean, I think this question should rather be answered by a pianist, but in my experience, that so you know, Steinway does not have. If you're talking about sound philosophy, Steinway does not say our sound is the sound from this country or from this city or for this music. What is important to Steinway is to make the sound, the instrument, so the pianist can play in all genres, in all kinds of music, to be able to express everything with no limits. And in order to make this possible, you really need to have an instrument with a tremendous dynamic level, to be able to play really softly whispering pianissimo, and to be able to play thundering fortissimo,
like a panzer, like a blitzkrieg.
Exactly. So to make this possible, the piano has a special construction which differs from other makers. So this makes Steinway actually different. If you prefer Steinway, if you prefer another brand, that is perfectly fine. I mean, some pianists have different choices, but this is Steinway's philosophy, that the instrument should be very versatile with a huge dynamic range.
Now, I have right here next to me a beautiful Steinway Model D, which belongs to the Georgianescu National University of Arts in Romania, in Iași, which is actually our wonderful host for the evening. Now, right across the street at the Iași Philharmonic, there are two new Model D Steinways, and we have to tell our audience that Model D is the biggest concert grand piano from Steinway, but it's tremendously expensive, Gisle. I think at your gallery we have some prices. Maybe you can even show us some price tags. What makes a Steinway piano, so expensive?
I mean, basically it takes 12 months to build a Steinway. It takes 1 year to build a Steinway. And at the Steinway factory in Hamburg, there are more than 300 people working at the factory. So basically 300 people are involved in the production of each piano. So many special works that has to be done with the plate, with the action, with the dampers, with the hammers, of course with the wood. So you have so many types of special workers, lacquer, finish, voicing, tuning. It takes so many years to train these people. You know, you cannot just hire someone from the street and now you make this. Some years ago, I think 5 years ago, a Hamburg factory employed 50 new technicians, 50 new piano builders, because they know that after a couple of years, if they're lucky, they have 10, because they need to see who are the best technicians, who are able to work, to concentrate on this high level work every day. So it really takes, and you know, in the Hamburg factory and in New York factory also, you have three generations of people working there: the grandfather, the father, the son. They
It's
have
like
all,
an inheritance.
yes, actually. So this kind of experience, it's something that you cannot just, you know, get quickly, buy some from somewhere. It takes so many years. And when the production takes so long time, and of course the materials, when they use about 20 to 30% only of the materials that they purchase, the rest they have to burn because it's not usable in a, it doesn't require, doesn't fit to the Steinway's requirement of quality. Of course, this is extremely difficult, expensive. The pianos are built not to a price point. It's built to a quality point. So it doesn't matter how expensive it will be.
Of course. Now, what is the main focus for your store and for Steinway in Norway? What do you hope to achieve, and what is the main goal?
I mean, to connect with artists, cultural exchange like we have now. I think it's extremely important, because we are not just about business and selling instruments. We are also about culture and music, and the pianists are really the bloodstream, the live stream in our company. Because without the pianist, without the artists, we don't have any business. We don't have any instruments, because we always listen to the pianos, to the artist. I mean, or the factory, the Steinway factory are always listening to the pianist, what they have to say. Can we improve something? They are constantly improving on the instruments.
I even remember, you're absolutely right, and I even remember some trips, like school trips, that the Norwegian Academy of Music had to Hamburg, to the Steinway Gallery, and the students had to choose the new instrument, which will come back to the gallery in Oslo. So you really take the students' opinion seriously, not to mention, of course, in case there's a big institution like Oslo Philharmonic who would like to buy a piano, of course, there's a proper pianist who would like have a really important word in that purchase. But how does the typical Steinway buyer today look?
You know, the thing is that it's not so easy to point out who's the typical Steinway buyer. There are a vast, it's so different. It can be families. Actually, many of the Steinway customers are quite normal families with talented kids, and the parents really want to give them the best possible tool to develop their talent. So this is something we see every year, that we always have some families coming here to buy a Steinway, and maybe they started with a cheaper piano like a Boston or Essex, and they will trade it into a Steinway after 5 or 10 years. And of course, pianists, culture houses, concert halls, the opera, obviously all the main stages,
academies as well, music
academies, and private customers. So actually, I'm quite happy to tell you that all 50% are private customers, 50% are institutions and professional buyers. So this is a good balance for us.
But do you think you're doing anything consciously to attract a certain type of buyer? Do you have a specific marketing strategy, or what is your approach when you want to sell a piano?
So of course we want to attract private buyers, but I think it all comes down to reputation. It does really, and you cannot take yourself as an example. As a pianist, would you buy a Steinway because you saw some advertisement that Steinway is the best piano in the world? No, of course not. You are the pianist. You know for yourself what kind of piano you want to play. You will not listen to any PR or some ad that's trying to tell you which is the best piano. So the piano really speaks for itself, and if the quality standard doesn't meet the requirements for the pianist, then we cannot call ourselves the founder of the best piano in the world anymore. So
absolutely, it's only based on experience. Even from myself, I can tell that. But okay, then what does the Steinway Gallery do in general? You mentioned connecting with artists, and that's a brilliant thing to do with students and with big names like Leif Johannes. I saw him on the wall as well. Probably the most famous Norwegian pianist alive today. What are your activities?
So what we do, this is not only for our benefit, I would say. We have many concerts here, mainly by students from the Norwegian Music Academy, NMH, because we can offer a different arena. They have, of course, at the school, at the NMH, they have 2 nice concert halls, nice instruments. Everything is actually perfect.
Spotless, yeah.
Everything is spotless. But in our experience, the students, especially the master students, they are searching different places to play, so they can actually go to have their concert on different places. And with our place, we can offer a smaller arena. We can have an audience of 40 people here. And if you see now a Model B, a Model C, and a Model D standing here, now they are standing next to each other. So sometimes we even have concerts for 2 pianos.
Of course.
And
actually, if I may remember that, I even had a concert in this very gallery with Valeria Lapshin, pianist from Moldova last year, right before Classix Festival, the first edition. So it was 2 piano concerts. So it was lovely.
Yes. So we are. I mean, of course, before Corona, we had concerts here almost every week or every second week. We had a concert here with not only students, of course, but all kinds of pianists, with a trio, with singers, everything we had here.
What kind of people go into the gallery? What, like, let's say in the next half hour or so, who might pop into Steinway Gallery Oslo?
It can be like everyone. Some random people just waiting for the train okay, now I have half an hour. I can go here and play some pianos and, enter the store for the first time. People working in the area could pop in. That also, sometimes we sold a piano to something that popped in their lunch break. That was quite nice. And
quite an expensive lunch.
Yeah, yes, you could say so. But most people coming in here, they make an appointment and they're telling us, we want to try to play a Steinway model so and so, or the Boston. We are buying a piano for our family. Can we please come and play the piano? That's usually the way it goes.
Okay. What is the most popular model in your gallery right now?
The most popular model, I would say, it's the Model B. The B model, it's Steinway's most sold, the most produced model. Of course, the D model is, if you ask a pianist, everyone wants to play a D.
Ta-da, we have it right here, of course, is the most wanted one.
So that's, I would say that's also Steinway's flagship model. It's in 95% of all concert halls in the world. So that's, of course, the most famous piano of Steinway. But a more practical model, the B model, 211, it's a little bit smaller and it can fit in a living room. They are using in education rooms, like a professor rooms. They have two B models side by side. So that's Steinway's most produced model. They make more than 400 B models in Hamburg every year.
Okay.
Yes.
And the Hamburg is like the headquarters for everything that matters in Europe. What about Asia?
Yes.
Because Asia is a very important market, right?
Yes. So the Hamburg factory also produces pianos for the Asian market. So basically, the Hamburg factory makes pianos, or they are serving the whole market except the American market. So
which is served by New York.
Exactly. So the New York factory serve the American market.
Okay. Now tell me, actually, one of my students purchased a piano from your gallery last year. And of course, living in an apartment, there are many challenges, you know, the humidity level, the change of temperatures, and the piano kind of changes with those. How often should a Steinway piano be tuned, and what are the requirements of it, and what does it imply?
Yeah,
The
so I would
maintenance
say,
of the piano.
yeah, as often you can afford, I would say, because or as often you need it to. If you think it's out of tune, if you're not comfortable playing on the piano, you should have it tuned definitely. Steinway officially, I think they recommend 4 times a year, but in real life, most pianists they tune it maybe twice a year.
Absolutely, I kind of relate to that as well.
Yeah.
But what about the people who tune Steinway pianos? Should they be Steinway professionals, or just any technician can do it?
So I mean, any technician could tune a Steinway, but we have 15 Steinway technicians in Norway, and the requirement is that they have all passed the Steinway Academy. It was established in 1994 in Hamburg, so they have an own academy for Steinway technicians in Hamburg. So all our technicians they have been there at least 1 time or 2 times, and been trained in the factory to do voicing and tuning and regulating on a concert level. So this is really recommended to use one of those technicians, because they are really
top notch. Yeah, it's a guaranteed satisfaction.
Yes.
Now, if I have to come back to my student, because you mentioned, and I can see lots of concert pianos, grand pianos, I mean. But what about upright pianos? Because if we live in an apartment, as most Romanians I think do, we can't really have enough space for in a normal living room for a piano. Not to mention we have neighbors. So probably a very thoughtful decision would be to purchase an upright piano. What are the main differences between the grand piano and an upright?
So obviously the main difference is the action. So in an upright piano, the action is upright, and maybe we can have a look on this grand action model here. So this is how the action looks like on a grand piano. So you have the benefit here that the hammer will fall down. So you have better repetition basically on grand action.
I think now we have a better idea of why it is so expensive.
Yeah, I mean, it's more than 12,000 parts in a Steinway. So, and everything is made by hand, and everything is adjusted by hand, and everything you do with the action, you have to do it 88 times. And when you are regulating the piano action or the grand piano action, it's more than 20 different steps that you have to do in a specific order. So you have 20 different steps times by 88. To regulate through the piano one time, and you have to do it several times. In the factory they do it, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, and then here we do it a couple of times. So it's extremely time consuming to bring everything on the highest level.
Okay, before we move to the upright piano, I just want to let our viewers know that they can pop in with questions in the Facebook comment feed, and we will have a question and Q&A session in the end. We already started to have very interesting questions, I have to tell you. But now let's go to the upright piano, okay? How is that any different?
So Steinway actually, they're trying to make the biggest piano pretty much the same construction as the smallest grand piano. So sound-wise, actually the string length and the soundboard area is almost the same on the biggest Steinway Model K. So this is actually the cheapest way to get a real Steinway. And it's less than half the price of the smallest Steinway grand piano, but it still has a beautiful sound, beautiful bass. So it's a big piano with a rich sound.
Okay.
So this is yeah.
What about the other one, the sexy one, if I might say, right next to it? That kind of catches everyone's eye, doesn't it?
That's an eye catcher for sure. So this is a Boston piano. It's designed, or it's constructed by Steinway, made in Japan. So to be able to make piano that is not so expensive, because in euros you are talking about a K model, you are talking about almost 45,000 euros. So of course this is not cheap, so it's not for everyone. So Steinway made a decision many years ago to produce Boston Essex pianos that is more in a, let's say, family friendly price environment.
Okay, but basically Boston and Essex are subsidiaries of Steinway's. They are a company in the same family, in the same umbrella.
Exactly. So they are. It's Steinway's own products. So it's Steinway's products. Steinway made those products. Yeah.
And very important, because on Boston and Essex, we always can find designed by Steinway and Sons. Now, that's very important to mention that Steinway didn't only design the shape of the piano or the model. All the mechanisms actually belong to Steinway.
Of course. So when it says designed by Steinway, it means that the piano is constructed by Steinway. So Steinway engineers in New York made the construction of the Boston Essex pianos. And you can see here, if you see on the back of the piano, you can really see the similarities. If you see the back posts here on the Boston, the placements, and you have 5 back posts. This makes the piano very stable. You see the blind board here, the back post, and if you compare it to the Steinway K, everything is it's almost the same.
Okay. What are the roles of those pillars that we see in the back?
So the reason you see there's a different distance here, you might be puzzled about why is this back post here or not here. It would be more symmetric if it was here
in the middle.
And in some pianos you actually see the distance is the same, but Steinway decided to put the back post here, because if you see on the front of the piano, if you move to this side, then you see in correspondence with the back post, you see the cross here. There is a break, and to support the force of the strings in this break in the best possible way, they decided to put the back post in the exact same position in the back.
Very, very good information. So basically, there's a proper research behind every single thing.
Everything. Nothing is left to chance. They have researched everything, and I think you can simulate many things in a computer, and you can make calculations. But at the end of the day, you also have to rely on all the research that you do from all the years of experience. After 10 years, you will notice that, okay, putting strings like this or using a thickness of the string this way will be better if we do it a slightly different way. So Steinway is actually constantly developing without telling the world around. We don't necessarily know everything they do, but they do have a development department in Hamburg and New York, and they are constantly trying to see what can we do better, what can we improve in the action, in the materials, in the strings, in the whole instrument. What can we do to always make it better?
Okay, but now you mentioned research and of course development. Now, in my knowledge as a pianist, by the way, let's tell our listeners a bit of history, the piano that we know today was kind of invented just at the brink of the 19th century by Bartolomeo Cristofori in Italy, just around 1800 precisely. But as far as I have this beautiful Steinway D model right next to me, it hasn't changed that much. Where is the piano heading? Do you see any foreseeable big changes in terms of shape or experiments with sounds and technology?
So, I mean, it has been experimented in many ways to try out different materials in the soundboard. Even someone tried to make a soundboard made of aluminum. And of course, it made a very stable piano, but it didn't sound very pleasing. You can imagine. So, and even carbon fiber has been used to make the soundboard. So,
and very light, I suppose, the carbon fiber.
Very light, yeah. And also in action parts, it's been some research. And the thing that we are always falling back on the traditional piano, and for that reason, Steinway, they do not use any plastic or synthetic materials in the instrument at all. Also, not in the action. Everything is made. Everything is wood. Everything is natural material. Because everything benefits to the sound somehow, even inside the action. When you play the piano, everything contributes to the sound of the piano. So this is why it's important that everything is made by wood.
Okay, now I will dare now to have a tiny joke because referring to the piano shape, which, and I have to tell you, this joke does not belong to me, of course, but to the great Victor Borge. And
yes.
If anyone asks, why is the piano shaped like that? And Victor Borge would say, it's because of those big opera singers that always lean against them and bend them. I don't know if that's the case. Do you have a proper explanation of why the piano is shaped like this?
Yeah, so it's quite easy to explain why the piano. I can show you here if you can see. It's quite simple to explain. If you see inside of the piano, you see the strings are shorter in the treble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you see along to the bass, the strings are longer.
The lower register, of course.
Yes. And you see also this cross section, which was it was patented by Steinway in the late 1850s. Late 1890s. It was patented by Steinway. So before the string was straight strung, as we call it.
All of them were straight. Okay.
Exactly.
Parallel, basically.
Yes. So it's much more effective to make it this way. Then you can have longer bass strings. So to your question, why the piano is shaped this way is because we don't want a square soundboard. We don't want an extremely big soundboard. We want a soundboard where the sound is traveling, where the vibrations are important. So this is also why we block out different parts, different sections of the soundboard, because it will kill the sound. If the soundboard is too big, it will actually kill the sound. So this is why the piano has the shape, because it's shaped by the natural flow of the strings and the way the soundboard has to be in order to produce the best sound possible. So that's why the piano is looking so beautiful.
Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah.
But we have been talking about Steinway Model D, Steinway Model B, the most popular one in the gallery you mentioned. The upright was Steinway K. What is with those letters and where do we find it? I mean, for instance, if I look here on the key, I see Steinway sounds beautifully, but where do I find the key, the letter?
The letter you can see here. Yeah, there is the letter. And
what are the differences? That's a Model A. Okay.
That's a Model A.
So the best one? The first one?
Yeah, exactly. So the A is 188 centimeters.
Okay.
So it's basically the letters is basically put by Steinway just to name the pianos. There is no significant meaning behind those letters. So there's no crazy story that the letters mean different things. I'm sorry.
It's very
to tell you.
important because right now we can see the splendor of the entire Steinway D sitting right next to me. And you mentioned the Model A is 188 centimeters. Now, this Panzer, I would dare to say, is 2 meters and 73, if I'm not mistaken?
Four. 274.
274, so it's really a monster. That's why it's so popular in so many big concert halls to feel the sound of them. Now, okay, we found out about the models, we found out about the shape, the elegance, but what influence does technology have in the development of the piano? I mean, tonight, for instance, in Classix, we have Rémi Jusselme, a French guitarist at the border between contemporary and classical guitar, and he plays an acoustic guitar. But, of course, every kid nowadays, basically, who wants to learn the guitar falls in love with the electric guitar. How is Steinway coping with technology in this sense?
So, yeah. So you are now talking about a different kind of development. I guess not the development of the piano itself, like an acoustic instrument. This is two different things. So we have also Steinway, they're not slipping. So regards to digital, in our digital age, 5 years ago, they introduced Steinway Spirio. So it's Steinway's high resolution player piano. So this is, for example, here on the B model, B211.
Which is the most popular model in your gallery?
This is the most popular model, the most sold model. And this is equipped with a system called Spirio Recorder. So you can not only play and let the piano play, you can also record yourself, and you can edit everything, and you can do everything with your recording after that.
Okay, so we actually witnessed, like we saw in movies, pianos playing by themselves, more or less.
Yes. So the difference between, a playing piano is nothing new. It came almost 100 years ago, and it was actually one of the first player pianos was developed by Steinway. So it's a part of their history, about part of their heritage. So coming back to a player piano that was introduced in 2015, 2016, after several years of development, because when they wanted to release this kind of product, you have to be sure to connect it with the Steinway brand, that it works flawlessly. And now they introduced the player piano, which can play in high resolution, so you cannot hear the difference between a real performance and when a piano is playing.
Okay, what kind of artists record for the Spirio? I mean, and how does it work? How can I make my living room piano to have Richter playing in my not Richter, Yuja Wang, let's say. I want Yuja Wang to play in my living room. Can I do that with Spirio?
Sure. Let's see. Then I will. The quickest way is just to go to the search menu, and I will type her name, and now I can see all the titles that she played.
Okay, that's impressive, but it kind of makes sense because how it worked, basically Yuja recorded this in Hamburg or New York, I suppose, and it went on to the cast and then connected to all the devices, to all the Spirio Steinway pianos in the world. Is that right?
Exactly. We do.
Okay, but what about pianists such as, for us Romanians, of course, we have a soft spot for either Radu Lupu, or since we're in 17th of March, Dinu Lipati was born on 19th of March, so 2 days from now, and he would have celebrated 104 years old. Are there any recordings of Lipati, for instance?
I just found it for you.
There you go.
So it's 3 recordings.
Can we have a listen to Dinu Lipati
shall we try?
Just before his birthday?
Let's have a listen to the Chopin Waltz in F minor. So the sound will probably be not too good because we are just doing this on a on a cheap microphone, but you will get some impression. So let's see here how it works.
So this is Lipati performing Chopin, I suppose?
Chopin, yes.
So that was actually Dinuli Party performing Chopin, and that can be in our own living room. But Gisle, how can we I'm pretty sure Lipati was not aware of this revolutionary technique. So how did this happen?
So Steinway, they have developed in cooperation with another company, they have developed technology. So you can actually transfer already recorded music by composers or pianists or artists who are not living anymore. So it's possible to transfer already existing music to the Spirio system. So it's a quite complicated process to do so. It's not just to push a button and it will do it by itself.
Exactly. It's not like we can go on YouTube and I have my phone here with me and I record Lipati and then the piano plays. It's a very complicated procedure.
No, not yet. It's a complicated procedure, and it's also a lot of manual work. So they have a team in New York who are doing this in a studio. So everything has to be edited manually. The software program will basically do everything more or less correct. And then after that, it's a manual process to listen to the original recording and to make manual adjustments to the pedaling, to the shift pedal, to the sustain pedal, to make sure that everything is absolutely the way the pianist was playing the piece.
Okay, but this is a Spirio. Tell us something about the Spirio Recorder, because I think that's quite a revolutionary idea that Steinway has in store for us. It hasn't been released yet, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, it has been released actually this year. So in February, officially it was released. We had some models in the market already last year, but officially it was released in February this year.
Okay, but this might actually revolutionize the whole idea of piano master classes, for instance, especially in pandemic times, since we cannot travel as we would like to. We can actually have a master class, say, with Håvard Gimse from the Norwegian Academy of Music here in the UNESCO Academy. But how?
So just to give you an introduction first, how the record system works. You see here, there's a record button. So I press the button and it says prepare to record. And let's say I just play something to solo. I had to press the button first. Like this. And now I stop the recording and I just write something here, test 4, because I already have so many tests.
I think like this is one of your favorite toys.
Absolutely. So now I can see the grid here, and I can use the Apple Pencil here. And if I now press play, it will soon start to play. So this was basically what I played. And then if I want to edit something, I just push here. I can change the velocity, I can change the power of each note individually.
Each note, every single note, every single sound.
Every single note. So I can change the duration, the velocity, the pitch, everything I can change. I can even select, like this, and then I can change the pitch. If I want to transpose something, then everything moves. If I recorded something and if I did a mistake, I can just put that note and make the adjustment. And then the file can be transported to MP3 file or MIDI or another Spirio piano.
Okay, so, everything here aims for perfection, and I really admire that. But in my perspective as a live concert pianist, I would actually always prefer to hear some mistakes, to hear the proper energy of a live concert, because otherwise we will end up with a lying recording. If I mess up something, I will easily correct it. But I have to really appreciate the struggle for perfection that Steinway has, and it's really admirable. But what about if I have a Spirio recorder here on this Steinway Model D next to me, would I be able to play? Would you be able to play on my piano, or would I be able to listen to what you played on my piano?
Yes. So this this transfers to our next topic that you ask about Spirocast. So this is something that will also be released officially a little bit later this year. So now you're actually seeing a preview. So this is how you can see a calendar here for different casts. So the date of when something will be released. So for example, here, Jeremy Denk, he has a masterclass. So let's see the launch Spirocast.
Talking and then about we can see revolutionizing the masterclass idea.
Yeah.
The G minor fugue is one of the most famous, the way almost medium potatoes fugues. Simple thing, structure of the idea, which is question and
answer. There's your own masterclass in your own living room, on your own piano. And the professor is thousands, if not tens of thousands of miles away.
Yeah, he's now sitting in New York.
This is absolutely incredible. And this is his own touch, absolutely his own touch.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
I think so many students nowadays have so many struggles with online lessons, you know, with their professors not being able to travel. We're talking about international big names. So it's a struggle for all of us, but Steinway can actually save our lives, our pianistic lives, with this kind of revolutionary approach. Really impressive. Now, Gisle, thank you for everything you shared with us. It was really impressive to have this walk around your gallery. And I think you can relax because we have some questions now from people who you might actually know. For instance, we have Nano Beraya. And this is a very important question that I think was on our heads ever since we started the talk. Does it ever happen, Steinway, to have a discount?
It does happen. Yes, it does happen. It does happen.
Is it like on Black Friday, for instance?
No, that does not happen. We don't have Black Friday here. So if we give a discount, it's a very small one. Yes, and it has to be a good reason. So we don't.
Okay, so it's the kind of personalized discount. It's not open for all.
I mean, if you're explaining why you need a discount very well, then we will consider it.
Okay, so, that's very good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a question from Grace O'Dean. What happens if the Steinway technicians tune other pianos? Is it just the Steinways that have specific and special tuning for Steinways, or other brands have different techniques too?
So I suppose, yeah, I mean, it's natural that all piano manufacturers, they have their own system. They do have their own technicians. It doesn't mean that, I mean, if you are really a good technician, you can basically work on every piano. This is my personal opinion. However, if you're working on a Steinway, it's very important to know certain things that's different from a Steinway to other brands. And we see that all the time, that fairly good technicians, fairly experienced technicians, they have worked on a Steinway and they thought they did everything right because this is the way that they have been learning it in other places. And they did not do something like wrong because it's right in another instrument, but it's not right in a Steinway piano. For example, I can just show you one small example. If you see inside here, you can see around the tuning pins. Yeah, you can see here is air, there is no connection between the tuning pin and the iron frame. And this is very special to Steinway. I do not know about every other manufacturer who are doing this way. Usually you have a piece of wood between a wooden dowel between the tuning pin and the frame in order to keep the tuning pin more stable. But Steinway, they do not want to have this dowel because it can interrupt, it can suck out the energy from the string from the tuning pin, because we don't want to have any connection between the string here and the plate, because it can actually steal energy from the string. So knowing this detail as a tuner is very important, because you have to tune a piano in a very specific way to make the strings stable, to make the tuning stable. Okay. Otherwise, after when you are half in your concert, the piano goes out of tune, because the tuner didn't know how to stabilize the tuning pin, because it has a different construction that he's not maybe he's not familiar with this.
Okay, so, very good. But Gisle, for instance, we in Romania are blessed to have, well, of course, it's a bigger country in terms of population than Norway, but we have so many professional orchestras, we have so many pianos around the country. But somehow we always seem to have the problem with not enough tuning people. If someone would like to try out and, you know, start a career as a piano technician, what would be the first step? Are there studies for this in Hamburg or New York? Are there other brands, music academies? Do they offer that in Norway?
So the Norwegian Music Academy, NMH, they have now a training and education for piano tuners. So this is obviously the best place in Norway at the moment. Otherwise, I would recommend, if you are really interested to explore this craftsmanship, I would recommend to visit any piano store. You can visit our store or any other piano store, and to have a talk and to listen if there is any possibility to have an internship, or to just to try it, to see if this is something I could do. So,
absolutely. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So there are proper studies, but then who teaches at the Norwegian Academy of Music this kind of study program?
Yeah, so they do have two teachers there, and they are piano tuners themselves, of course. And I think now they have, every year they will accept 3 to 5 new students. So it's a very small education, because we don't need to educate like 10, 15 new piano technicians every year. Then there will be no jobs for everyone. So it's better to have just a few new technicians every year.
But it starts to be like a more open market in terms of piano. I mean, I for one know many concrete cases where we in Romania have to ask tuning we have to call tuning people from abroad to tune some very important pianos for some very important names before concerts. So I'm pretty sure that lots of students who would approach this study program would have no borders, basically.
Yeah, I mean, if you are interested, it's just important to have a look to see if this is really something that you could do, because it's important to not to forget that piano tuning is basically a craft. It's not, you are not making music when you are tuning a piano. Quite the opposite. You have to listen very actively to how the piano sounds, and this is something quite different. So you have to try it and see if this is something that you can do.
I have to give it to Grace, because this is a very important question that kind of is being easily developed, because I'm a big football fan, as many people know already, but it's kind of like the people who cut the grass before the footballers go on the pitch to play the game. That's kind of what the piano technicians do for us. Now, a very important question that comes on my mind right now is, how much interest do the normal pianists or students to how well the piano is being prepared before one of their concerts? What is your experience with this? Do they communicate, the pianists and the piano technicians?
Yeah, of course. On a the higher level you are playing, it's always required for example, when I was tuning for Life of Armsted's concert in the opera last time, I was meeting with him a couple of times before the concert, maybe the day before. You are preparing the instrument the day before, then the pianist come in, he tries the instrument, he makes his comments, can you please adjust the voicing in this and this area? And then you are working more with the instrument. So the communication between the piano technician and the concert pianist is very important.
Based on my experience, I think it's very important, and in Norway we have plenty of opportunities like this. We choose different pianos for different repertoires and for different halls. It's ideal that the concert hall should have more than one concert piano. So if we're playing a Mozart concerto, we choose a certain piano. We're looking for a crisp sound. If we play a Rachmaninoff piano concerto, we need a different approach of sound. We need a certain depthness of sound. Some pianos might be too light. Some pianos might be too heavy. Depends on what we're playing. Would you agree with this?
Of course. So this is the reason why most concert halls, they do have several Steinway Ds, not only one. So the Oslo Concert Hall, they have 3D models. One they got last year, one is 10 years old, and one is almost 40 years old. So they have different instruments for different tastes or for different uses. So,
okay, and moving on, which I think is the last question from Evie Wang. Would you recommend someone to purchase a upright piano over the smallest grand piano, which is apparently the O model? Is that right?
The smallest is the S model.
S model, okay.
No, actually, I would if I could have a choice of purchasing a big upright or a small grand, I would go for the small grand, because the sound is more open and you have the grand piano action. So even though it's a small grand piano, you still feel that it's a grand piano. So this is my personal opinion.
Okay. Well, Gisle, thank you very much for your time. I think it's been an inspiring talk, I have to tell you, not for me, but also for many students watching this. And for people traveling to Oslo or visiting Oslo or even living in Oslo, you can visit the Steinway Piano Gallery just outside the National Theatre. And it's a fantastic place. They are all very happy to welcome you there. And maybe even seal a deal, who knows? So thank you very much, Gisle. And thank you for the support of the Norwegian Embassy to Bucharest. Thank you for the Norwegian Romanian Chamber of Commerce, NOROC, and to the beautiful venue of the Georgianescu National University of Arts in Iași. Thank you. Classix Festival continues tonight with the Intimate Echoes recital of Rémi Jusselm, French guitarist. And it will be live streamed from 7 p.m. Romania time on our Facebook page. So Classix Festival continues, and I'll see you very soon. I'm DRAGOŠT. Thank you very much.